Donald, let's talk about Edward Snowden. He was the one who dominated coverage over the weekend. Hong Kong says, thumb in your eye, U.S., he's gone. So China lets him go. He lands in Russia. They say it's no problem. It looks like he might even think about staying there. Everyone seems so empowered to stick it to us these days.
Well, first of all, he's a terrible guy. I said it right from the beginning. So many people are trying to defend him. Oh, look at what he's revealed. And isn't it wonderful what he's revealed? And yet people marching in his favor. He's a terrible guy who's really set our country back. China's now looking at us like, you know, we were hitting them hard on what they were doing in terms of what they were taking from us. And now they are really going at it. They're saying we're far worse than they ever were. And he's really hurt us in terms of relationship. And it really shows how weak our country's been and has become when you cannot get this guy back. I mean, you think you tell these countries, hey, folks, we're not doing any deals with you until this guy's on a plane, and that includes Russia, that includes everybody, because we really have become a very different nation than we were.
You know, it's interesting. On the front page of the New York Times this morning, Mr. Trump, legal experts say the administration appeared to flub the case. Why didn't they revoke his passport after the charges were filed? Because they essentially had the chance to freeze him in place, and they didn't do it. They dropped the ball on this.
Well, maybe they thought it wasn't politically correct. You know, spies in the old days used to be executed. This guy is becoming a hero in some circles. Now, I will say with the passage of time, even people that were sort of liking him and maybe trying to go on his side are maybe dropping out. But, you know, you look at where he goes, and now nobody knows where he is. But we have to get him back, and we have to get him back fast. They're talking about it could take years, it could take months, but maybe years. That would be pathetic.
I grew up in the American military, Mr. Trump, and I totally agree with you. I think anybody that does anything against this country should be taken to task for that. But don't you think that the things that we're doing here, other countries are doing too? I mean, all of the spying that we're doing, or quote-unquote spying, is just to protect this country. What do you feel about that?
Well, they are, and the other countries are definitely doing it. And, you know, we used to hit them pretty hard for doing it, and now they just look at us and smile right. Because what he's revealed is incredible. I mean, he's revealing things that nobody thought possible. And I think he's probably got stuff that's maybe why he's staying in Russia. Russia's very smart, and they're probably getting every possible thing out of him. They said, hey, wait a minute, let's not send him to Ecuador or wherever he's going. Let's immediately, let's talk to him for a couple of more days. This is pretty good stuff.
Hey, I got to ask you, Donald, first off, the president was so angry when gun control failed. He was so angry and determined against Mitt Romney. Where's that anger against China? Where's that anger against Russia? Where's that anger against all these countries that are defying us and making this president, our administration, our country look so
silly.
Bad?
Well, you know, China's been on my mind for years, and you know it better than anybody because, you know, I do your show every Monday, and we have a little thing going on China, and it just amazes me when I see what goes on. And you know, for him to be ensconced in China, and then all of a sudden he gets out because they say, oh, I'm sorry, you sent in the wrong documents, and we would have done it, but you sent in the wrong documents. And they got a lot of information out of this guy. This guy's a bad guy. And, you know, there is still a thing called execution. You really have to take a strong hand. You have thousands of people with access to kind of material like this. We're not going to have a country any longer.
But the president's talking about global warming on Tuesday. He's not even addressing this.
The great global warming debate, you know. You know, in the 1920s, magazine covers had a very, very scary phenomenon. You know what it was called? It was called global cooling. The planet was cooling, you know, the wave theory, right? But the planet was severely cooling. And everybody was worried about global cooling. Now it's global warming. No, we have bigger problems, believe me.
I just have a quick question for you, Mr. Trump. How do you feel about the newspapers that printed what Snowden gave them? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's disgraceful. I mean, that's what they do. And
it's a story.
I guess you can't really hold it. Yeah, I mean, they have information. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could say, couldn't you, big folks, come on, give us a break. But how does he get this information? Here's a guy who didn't even graduate from high school. He was a high school dropout. How did he get the job in the first place? Where did he come from? And now he's traveling the world, and everybody's protecting him. It really is a shame. Our country's in very sad shape. I mean, look, we have to do something. You have thousands of Snowdens out there. I would imagine most of them at least have a high school education. But you have thousands of people with this kind of access. And who's going to be the next Snowden?
How do we protect ourselves in the future?
Right,
well, unless the retribution is swift and really strong, you're going to have other people coming out with more information than he's got.
Well, WikiLeaks is their greatest ally. Yeah, they have diplomats now, this WikiLeaks website. They are escorting them around the country. They're providing them a free legal service.
Well, it's very, very sad. I just wonder whether or not perhaps the president's concerned that records from, the only thing we don't seem to get are the records from the president. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, we don't get, no one leaks that.
Where are those?